Good day, race fans, I'm Unsilent. Now that we've had a few weeks to settle in with F1 2017, we can start looking ahead to next year, kinda like McLaren has all season. While it's a great game and a big leap forward over the last couple of F1 games, Codemasters has put themselves at a spot where classic cars are a massive component of the career mode in the game as a whole. That means we should be expecting more classic cars going forward. But what should be added to the classic car roster? Here are 10 classic cars that I think should be in F1 2018. First though, 2 criteria. 1. Cars on this list aren't in F1 2013 or 2017. These suggestions are all new cars for an all new game. And 2. The cars must have wings. If you want to try those pre-Aero F1 cars, try Grand Prix Legends. It's an amazing game and a completely different beast when you compare 1967 F1 cars to the cars that have raced since. Number 10. The 1986 Benetton B186. It only won one race and finished 6th in the 1986 World Constructors' Championship, but this car had the most powerful engine in F1 history. It was powered by the BMW M12 engine, a 1.5-liter turbocharged inline-4 that produced upwards of 1,400 horsepower in qualifying trim. For comparison, the current Mercedes 1.6-liter turbo hybrid V6 is reported to run at or just over 1,000 horsepower. Sure, the 86 Benetton wasn't the most successful car due to bad luck and unreliability, but it sure was otherworldly fast. Number 9, the 1977 Walter Wolf Racing WR1. Fun fact, Walter Wolf Racing started life as Frank Williams Racing Cars. After being bought out of his team, Williams and Patrick Head started Williams Grand Prix Engineering, which is still on the grid today. Walter Wolf Racing and its WR1, driven by future world champion Jody Scheckter, had a spectacular debut season, winning its first race and 2 more, the Monaco Grand Prix and Walter Wolf's home race, the Canadian Grand Prix, en route to 4th in the World Constructors standings and 2nd for Jody in the World Drivers' Championship. The team really peaked in that 1977 season, but stuck around for 2 more years, including scoring 5th in the 1978 season before Wolf sold the team to Emerson Fittipaldi after the 1979 season. The inclusion of Walter Wolf Racing would be a gratuitous piece of Canadiana and an acknowledgement of a little heralded piece of F1 history, but it sure would set a different tone for the series. Number 8, the 1999 Jordan 199. Jordan never won a World Constructors title, but was within 2 races of winning a Drivers' Championship in 1999. With 3 races left in the season, Heinz-Harald Frentzen was within 10 points of the lead and was leading at the Nürburgring before an electronics failure left him 12 points behind Mika Hakkinen rather than only 2. Combined with the disappearance of pace in Malaysia, Jordan's championship challenge effectively ended in Germany. But the Jordan 199 marked a peak for the little Irish team. 2 wins, 1 pole, 6 podiums gave the team and Frentzen 3rd in their respective championships. Number 7, the 2013 Red Bull RB9. It's a little too modern to be called a classic car, but Cody's has the RB6 in this year's game, and I have one more overtaking working group V8 era car on this list. The RB9 might not hold a spot on the top 10 list for winning percentage, but 13 wins in a season, including 9 in a row to close the season, is nothing to overlook. The RB9 was the last modern V8 championship winning car and was the end of Red Bull and Sebastian Vettel's 4-year run of dominance. It would certainly make a nice bookend to pair with the RB6 that launched Red Bull's supremacy. Number 6, the 1994 Benetton B194. I'm actually surprised that none of the pre-Ferrari Schumacher cars have been included in the Codemasters games yet. He won his first championship in the B194 with 8 wins in 14 races. He was actually classified in only 10 races with a worst finish of 2nd. That season had 2 disqualifications, a 2-race ban, an engine failure, and that small collision in Adelaide. Schumi finished the season with 92 points while his teammates Leto, Verstappen, and Herbert contributed only 11. Jos and Johnny have said that the B194 was difficult to get a feel for and to set up, so Schumacher's feel and adaptability allowed him to get everything out of the car while his teammates lagged behind. I wonder how that would translate to a video game. Number 5, the 1971 Tyrrell 003. Jumping from Matra to the debuting March chassis was such a failure that Ken Tyrrell set about building his own chassis, the Tyrrell 001. After some refinement before the 1971 season, the resulting Tyrrell 003 won 6 of 10 races entered in 1971, powering Sir Jackie Stewart to his 2nd World Drivers' Championship and Tyrrell to its only World Constructors Championship in its first season as a constructor. The 003 chassis was Tyrrell's most successful design, and the chassis itself, of which reportedly only one was produced, is allegedly the most successful single car in F1 history. Number 4, the 1984 McLaren MP4-2. We all salivate over the MP4-4, but the MP4-2 line of cars won 3 World Drivers' Championships and 2 Constructors' Championships. It also set the record for most race wins in a season until the MP4-4 came along. Development of the car was bolstered by feedback from the amazing driver lineup of Niki Lauda and Alain Prost. The car was one of the few to run carbon brakes, which gave it an advantage over its rivals on steel brakes, and it had a 1.5-liter turbocharged TAG Porsche V6, which was relatively easy on the maximum fuel load of 220 liters, far cry from 100 kilos that we have now. Well, that and the driver lineup sure gave McLaren a massive boost over the competition. Number 3, the 1978 Lotus 79. Before the Lotus name was revived by both the future Caterham and future Renault teams, Lotus was one of the premier marques in F1, winning 7 World Constructors' Championships. The last of those championships was in 1978, powered by the Lotus 79, which is considered the first F1 car to take full advantage of ground effect downforce. Well, Lotus started working with ground effect aero with the Lotus 78. The 79 had 30% more downforce than the previous car. Rubens Barrichello drove the car at Goodwood in 2000 and said that the grip of the then 22-year-old car was comparable to what he was currently driving in F1 at the turn of the millennium. In 11 Grand Prix and 20 total entries in 1978, the car scored 6 wins, 10 pole positions, and 10 podiums en route to a championship double for the team and driver Mario Andretti. Number 2, the 1979 Ferrari 312 T4. You might mistake me for a Jody Scheckter fan because this is the champ's second car on the list. 1979's 312 T4 brought Ferrari its last World Drivers' Championship and most successful season until Schumacher's domination began in 2000. The car was Ferrari's first designed with ground effect in mind to compete with the conquering Lotus 79 of the previous season. It seemed to work because in 13 races in 1979, Ferrari won 6 races and scored 13 podiums. Driven by Scheckter and the legendary Gilles Villeneuve, Ferrari won the 1979 World Constructors' Championship and Scheckter the World Drivers' Championship, with Villeneuve close behind in second. And number 1, the 2007 Spyker F8-VII. No one can break the Winkle Rock. The car scored but 1 point, but Marcus Winkelhock led in his first and only F1 race after starting last in an absolute driving masterclass. Okay, fine. And number 1, the 2009 Brawn Grand Prix BGP 001. Brawn Grand Prix might be Formula 1's best and only one-and-done success story. When Honda pulled out of F1 after 2008, team principal Ross Brawn stepped in to buy the team and enter the remnants in the 2009 season. It was all a bit last minute, with the deal only being finalized in March 2009, and a Mercedes engine slapped in the car because it was the best fit to replace the Honda engine that the car was designed for. Despite almost missing the grid, Brawn dominated the early part of the season, with Jenson Button winning 6 of the first 7 races. The team wasn't able to keep up with development on the car as the season continued, so Brawn only won 2 of the final 10 races. That was enough to secure championships for Jenson Button and Brawn Grand Prix before the team was sold to become the factory Mercedes team that has dominated the hybrid V6 era. And that's my list. Did I miss out on any classic cars that Cody should include next year? Well, drop your picks in the comments. And while you're here, kindly hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new or if you want to see more classic F1 and classic video games. Share on social media. Follow me on social media. My social media handle is UnsilentOnAir, and that is for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr. And until the next time, I'm Unsilent. Thanks very much for joining me. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next time.